Welcome back to Hidden Agenda, and I am David Lawrence. Hey, if you want to write me, I'd appreciate it. You can write us at wpiq@upmail.com. Just put David or Hidden Agenda in the subject line. Hey, send me your emails, or send me your forwarded emails and let me see. I'll check them out, make sure they're a hoax, and if they are, we'll let people know. That's kind of cool. And of course, we're going to have a lot of comments on my last segment. I love that. But hey, let's call a spade, and I'm out to save the country. That's my job. And I believe that we have to be at least a two-party system. And I'll tell you, if the liberals are in charge, we're going to be one party pretty damn quick. Hey, moving on, welcome to the Father's Day segment. This starts off with a kind of a wacko father. This is out of Reno, Nevada. The suspect in a Reno homicide, who also is wanted for questioning in the shooting of a family court judge, told a Reno television station several weeks ago he believed the judge was corrupt. Now, here's the part, folks, that you never get in the mainstream press because it's very liberal, very judge-oriented. It is pro-woman, pro-judge, and here's the story you don't get. Now, let me go on with this. Darren Mack, owner of a Reno jewelry store and pawn shop, is suspected in the slaying reported Monday afternoon at a Reno apartment building that was home to his estranged wife, Charla Mack. Mack also is a, quote, person of interest in the shooting Monday of Washoe County Family Court Judge Chuck Weller, who recently presided over matters related to a divorce involving Mack. Reno Deputy Police Chief Jim Johns let us in on this. KRNV-TV Shelby Sheehan said Mack and a friend brought documents to the Reno news station several weeks ago in an attempt to substantiate their claims that Weller was not impartial in his rulings. The pair alleged improprieties in the way Weller handed down verdicts and claimed Weller based some of his decisions on donations to his campaign, Sheehan said during a newscast Monday night. They also presented court records they said showed a large number of legal motions made by attorneys hoping not to do business in Weller's courtroom. After news broke about Monday's shooting of Weller, the friend, whom the station did not name, visited the news station again and met with police investigators and KRNV-TV reporters, she said. The friend said he spoke with Mack on the telephone about 9 a.m. Monday, about 2 hours before Weller was shot. The friend said Mack didn't sound great but didn't give any indication he was about to do anything. He said Mack said he was hanging in there, doing okay, not great. Then Mack, he had to go, she quoted the friend as saying. Sheehan said the friend told her that he did not think Mack was capable of such violence. Let's get this straight. Basically, this fellow went to the press saying that a local judge was corrupt. In other words, he had some ties with his ex-wife. He had, this was a campaign contribution supposedly made to this guy's campaign by his ex-wife or friends thereof. And he felt that this, shall we say, colored the judge's perception on the case. I mean, this is the equal of, I mean, it's wrong, folks. The judge should have recused himself from the case if he had this type of background. I mean, you don't have lunch with the ex-mother-in-law, for instance, of the client, or you don't be personal friends with probation officers, or you know, that's just wrong. At that point, the judge has got to recuse himself for fairness. I mean, that's what judges are supposed to do. Now, I'm not saying that what this man did was right or correct. It is, if he is guilty of murder, absolutely should pay the price. What I am saying is that the court systems in this country are so slanted to the female. The family court systems are so slanted, are so biased, are so antiquated in 70s logic and decorum, which in every single study has been proven wrong. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that little children do better with two parents in one home. Little children do better seeing both parents. There is not a such thing as focus. The child needs focus. Well, if a child needed focus, they shouldn't have been divorced. Number one, it's on the parents' heads. Number two, their focus is where their heart is. And there is two homes. and this has been proven time and time again. If you'd like to write me about this, I will refer you to a website where you can get up-to-date statistics. And I'm talking mostly to the men out there, due to the fact that over 90% of child custody cases in the state of Michigan go to the woman, regardless of her ability to parent. Again, I'm not advocating this type of action. I do not believe that anything calls for murder. But I'll tell you something, I want you to understand. This man snapped. This man had hit his end, and there's no worse place to hit a man than with his children. And it's a sad thing when you see this type of situation where a father loses control. That is happening all over the country, and it's a sad scenario when we've got to bring back fault divorces. We are a no-fault state. And frankly, the person who applies or files for divorce should be the last person that gets the children. That should be the last person that gets the house. That should be the last person that gets child support and custody. That is how it should work. You should have to prove a case of divorce. That's only irreconcilable differences. I'll tell you something. Anybody that's been married, as I have, learns that you have irreconcilable differences with everybody. You have them every day with all different people, not just your wife, and you have to learn to work them out. Now, getting back to the scenario, the mother's dead. The father is going to be apprehended, and if he did it, he will pay the crime. Again, the children suffer, and it's a sad scenario on American justice. We should be working, our court systems should be working to keep the families together, not to separate them. And I can tell you from my experience and the personal experience in the court system, it is a sham. Lawyers do less than a good job to get other lawyers involved. It is a total sham. And what are judges but ex-lawyers? And what are judges but somebody who can be influenced by friends, by staff, etc., etc., etc.? Prosecutors, the same thing. We've been talking about this in regard to the Duke lacrosse case, and it's the same scenario. When you have a corrupt system, a corrupt courthouse, it's very difficult for the small man. And here we have a man that was in business he's an owner of a family business, in business for 45 years, attempting to fight the system, and unfortunately he was not equipped. He was not equipped on a financial level, and he was not equipped on an emotional level to fight City Hall. Frankly, the problem here is this. He freaked out. He went wacko. And that's wrong. It's terrible. He's going to pay the price, and so will his children in the end. But it's a little, when you get the full story, it's a little easier to understand what makes a businessman like this snap. What can I say? Hey, I do have an update here that I want to give you folks in regard to custody. There is something that has become psychologically classified as parental alienation syndrome. And let me tell you what this is. This is basically when one parent poisons a child against the other. And let me go over through some of these warning signs of parental alienation. Giving a child a choice as to whether or not to visit with the other parent. That's one of the things. Refusing to acknowledge that the child has property and may want to transport possessions between residences. Resisting or refusing to cooperate, but not allowing the other parent access to school or medical records and schedules of extracurricular activities. Refusing to be flexible with the visitation schedule in order to respond to the child's needs, or scheduling the child in so many activities that the other parent is never given the time to visit. Assuming that if a parent has been physically abusive with the other parent, it follows that the parent will assault the child. This assumption is rarely true. Asking the child to choose one parent over the other. Now, the reason I'm giving you this, folks, is because this is, God bless you if you've kept your family together, and God bless you if you're working on this. But if you have children circulating back and forth between homes, this is taking place in many cases. I've talked with many, many parents, and this has been a situation which has been ongoing for some time, and it's something that affects many parents. The alienating parent encouraging any natural anger the child has toward the other parent. A parent or step-parent suggesting changing the child's name or having the step-parent adopt the child. When the child cannot give reasons for being angry towards a parent or giving reasons that are vague and without any details. Using a child to spy or covertly gather information for the parent's own use. Arranging temptations that interfere with the other parent's visitation. Reacting with hurt or sadness to a child having a good time with the other parent. Asking the child about the other parent's personal life. Physically or psychologically rescuing a child when there is no threat to their safety. Making demands on the other parent that are contrary to court orders. Listening in on a child's phone conversation with the other parent. You know, this is, as I said, and I think it's a natural state of affairs when the court empowers one parent over the other. It just can't help but happen. It's not equal, and inevitably what happens is time becomes less important to the parent that has full custody. What that means is that you take for granted time spent with your children when you see them every day. It's kind of like, you know, when you haven't seen your child for a couple months, and believe it or not, that has happened to me. They've actually grown. Wow, and you notice the growth. You don't notice that every day. And it is a sad scenario when parents have to go through this. How does alienation occur? It leading the child to believe it is or his or her choice as whether or not to spend time with the other parent. You know, I'm going to, anybody who wants to write me, again, WPIQ@upmail.com, put hidden agenda or David in the subject line. You can agree or disagree, but this is, psychologists all agree, this is very real, and it is a scenario that is played many, many times in our family courts, and due to our family courts, I should say. And it's a sad scenario on what happens in custody today. But you write me, put hidden agenda or David in the subject line. Hey, you can disagree with me. I'd love to read a letter like that on the air. And if you don't, I'll send you a link to this parental alienation syndrome, how it works, how to fight this. Experts on alienation suggest the following as ways to cope with the problem, and I have a list here, including try to control your anger, stay calm, control your own behavior, keep a log of events. There are some practical things you can do to help yourself out so that you don't get in the same scenario as Darren Mack did in Las Vegas, Nevada. There are particular things you can do to save your sanity in an insane situation so that you can, get a call on Father's Day, and it's important for the rest of your life that you keep track of your kids, you keep contact with your kids, and as I said, someday it may come that you are not called on Father's Day, and it's going to be somebody's fault. And let me tell you right now, it's not your kids, it's not your child's, and if your phone's on, it's not you. So, like I say, keep your sanity, write me, and I'll be right back. This is Hidden Agenda.